Hey everybody, so, guess who got a new laptop a couple weeks ago? That's right, I did. Yes, yes, and currently I am running Ubuntu Mate. I wish I could have stuck with Solus, but more on that in a second, because yeah, we've got a lot to cover. So yeah, everything works. Discord works. Um, I'll explain why I have a bunch of YouTube tabs open later. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, everything's working okay. So basically, when I first got this, I installed Solus Budgie, and I was having issues with Steam, where when Steam would launch, the computer would just go fucking crazy and would need to restart. Like like the behavior wasn't always the same. Like sometimes the keyboard would stop working, or sometimes it would go crazy, and like I remember the first time I tried it, I was typing in my Steam username, and it got stuck on one key and kept pressing that key when my fingers were nowhere near the key. It was so weird. But, it wouldn't, like, sometimes it wouldn't let me click on anything. Sometimes, and it would still let me move the cursor, but wouldn't let me click on anything. Sometimes it wouldn't let me click on the system tray, and then would lock up right after. It was weird, man. But yeah, so then I switched to Solus Mate, and I installed the proprietary NVIDIA graphics. This is a Lenovo Legion Y520, by the way, and it's got a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, I think it is. I know the model is 1050 Ti. I don't know what the other names are. There's a sticker here that says NVIDIA GeForce GTX, so I guess that's it. But, yeah, so basically, yeah. But, then I tried installing the NVIDIA drivers, and everything was working great for a couple days. Steam was fine. Everything was fine. Then I restarted my computer, and on boot, it wouldn't boot into the fucking desktop. Wouldn't boot into the desktop. And yeah, that saddened me. So I reinstalled Solus Mate, and I reinstalled Solus Mate, and all of a sudden I started having issues with Steam again. Yeah, so I tried asking on Reddit for help, and I'm not going to knock on the couple of people who tried to help me, because I'm sure they're good people and everything, but they didn't help. I this past Wednesday, or maybe it was last Wednesday, I ended up switching over to Ubuntu Mate, and so Solus had a couple of really big glitches that were big deal breakers, like the Steam thing and the NVIDIA the NVIDIA graphics. Like I reinstalled it and I was like, okay, I'll just live with Nouveau, or whatever the open source NVIDIA drivers are for a little while until they get this fixed. And then Steam started doing that shit again, and we're like, ah. But yeah, I installed Ubuntu Mate. Steam works fine, as you can see. The NVIDIA proprietary drivers work okay, and I'm not going to change anything because, oh my god, that would be crazy. Not while I'm recording, anyway. Yeah, but the Ubuntu Mate had, at least when I first installed it, had a bunch of little bugs that, they're annoying, but they don't always appear. But, here, so you go to system to, no, shit. you go to Preferences and to Mate Tweak, and like you go here to the panel layout and you click on Mutiny, and I'm not going to switch it over right now because a lot of those little bugs seem to crawl out of the woodwork when I try to do that. But basically, like, it's supposed to have like the Unity sidebar right here, and then this bar up here, right, with like the system tray and the clock and all that. The top bar wouldn't appear. Now I installed and this is 18.04, right? So I installed 18.04 on Netbook months ago while it was still in the final beta, and it worked just fine. Okay, the only problem I had with the Mutiny layout on my Netbook was on this bar over here. There's a trash can at the bottom. Okay, and I don't use that trash can icon. So I wanted to switch it out with a workspace switcher, and it had like weird little things where it would like squish up against the brisk menu icon up here, and it just looked like hell. And I thought I found a workaround, but the workaround didn't work because I remember what the workaround was. So I tried to save it as a custom layout, and then switch to a different layout, because then that reset the dock length or something. And then I tried to do that, and there's a feature in both the Cupertino layout and the fucking Mutiny layout, where the brisk menu won't be like this. It'll be like a full screen Unity lens, I think that was called lens style launcher menu thing, and when I switched back to the custom layout, it just didn't work. It went back to this, and I didn't understand. I didn't understand. I got so frustrated with it that I switched to a different layout entirely. So, yeah, that was a wash. But yeah, so I'm kind of happy with this. Now, I did try out Compiz as the window manager, because that was pretty cool. And it was pretty cool for a time, but then I just got sick of it. I'll throw up some video I took of it a few days ago when I was still using it. I had the wobbly windows enabled in the desktop cube, and so then I stopped using the wobbly windows because, you know, they were kind of distracting, and then I just decided to disable Compiz altogether, and I'm on. Hold up. Let's see here. Mate tweak. Let's see here. Where is that? Okay, Mate tweak. Okay, so I'm on Marco Compton GPU Compositor. They also have the Adaptive Compositor, which is that like the software compositor? Because in Solus it just says software compositor. And I've never seen that word used before. Not even like when I installed it on my netbook. But yeah, you can see Compiz. And I'm not going to switch to Compiz either, because again, that seems kind of glitchy when you like switch between them and then you restart and then the glitches are fixed and it works okay. But yeah, like I couldn't move windows. Like, watch this. I couldn't move windows between workspaces like that with Compiz. And so that was kind of like, yeah. So yeah, just a bunch of little things that made me want to switch back to a good old regular compositor. Now, when I first installed Ubuntu Mate, unlike Solus Mate, which had screen tearing initially, but I was able to fix that by switching over to the software compositor in Solus Mate. When I installed Ubuntu Mate, the screen tearing was awful, and I could only fix it. Hold up. Let's see here. What was I going? Let's see here. hold up. Actually, I have it bookmarked. Library. What? Okay, hold up. Oh, is this it? No. Why do I have that bookmark? Okay, so anyway, there was like a little text file I had to create and something I had to add to the bottom of that line, and yeah. So that's fixed now. There's no screen tearing. And Steam worked right out of the box. Now the software boutique that comes with Ubuntu Mate, administration. Fuck off. Okay, so sorry, I don't know if you heard that, but somebody's messaging me on Facebook, and I'm just, fuck off. But yeah, so let me see here. So, let's see here. There are a couple applications I want to warn you away from installing from the welcome screen. So Minecraft did not work when I installed it through the welcome screen, but I did install it through the Snap Store. So basically just sudo snap install Minecraft, and it'll work. This one didn't work for me. I don't know why not. Let's see here. Steam works though. I believe I installed it through the software boutique, and that worked. But yeah. Don't install GNOME software if you can help it, because yeah, that last time I tried it, it was buggy as all hell. Solus has the best software center in the business. I will stand by that software center forever, because, you know, don't get me wrong, it had its flaws. But it worked, usually. I had this issue on my old laptop, where the, shit. Okay, so, like, something, I think I figured out it was something about VirtualBox drivers, and it would, like, install something, and then stop. It would update something, and then stop. And when, you know, when you had to pull in a lot of dependencies, oh my god, installing something from the KDE project was absolute hell because of that. Oh man. I need to get a new wallpaper. This one isn't really suited for this panel layout, because like it has a lot of black space up here, and like all the details and stuff are down here. But this sort of cuts off the bottom, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna have to get a desktop wallpaper better suited to this. That was completely off topic, but yeah. I also installed GIMP from the Snap Store, and that seems to work just fine. And I think there were a couple other Snap apps that I installed. Cool Retro Term. So I don't like PPAs. I just don't. In my experience, they weren't very good at all. But yeah, Cool Retro Term, I tried. There's a version of that on the Snap Store, and it didn't work. It just didn't come up. So I am planning on streaming my writing process, because I am a writer. But from now on, I'm going to use terminology until I can get Solus back on here, because I want to go back to Solus. I do want to go back to Solus. It's just right now it's not working for me. So I'm going to wait until they have Solus 4 and KDE come out. When there's a Solus KDE edition available for download, I will try it again. And hopefully that's sooner rather than later. I did try to install Kubuntu on this machine because I really wanted to try out KDE, but it booted into the screen where it was like try Ubuntu or install Ubuntu, and I clicked on try Ubuntu, and it just locked up. And it did this several times, and so obviously I'm not going to try and install something that wouldn't even go into the live CD part of it. So yeah, not happening. But yeah, just word grinder, and there we go. And we'll we'll have the chat over here, the Picardo chat, because I'll use Picardo for this. And we'll have this over here, and this will be running Word Grinder. Yeah. Terminal apps are cool. And what else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about using a separate home partition. My experiences using a separate home partition. Okay, so this home partition has survived since Solus Mate was working beautifully. Okay, so basically, what you're going to want to do, and this may have been the cause of Steam screwing up when when I had to reinstall Solus Mate, because Steam had. I'll show you. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, press in your home folder, which is where I'm right now. Press Control H. See all this shit? See all this shit that popped up? All these files? These are called hidden files. Okay, they have a dot in front of them, and that makes them hidden, and you can reveal them by pressing Control H. Now you see this? See this shit? See all this shit? Fuck this shit. Delete it. Delete all of it. Okay, and then that resets all your configuration and stuff. Now you may have to hunt for a couple other files that are elsewhere in your home folder. I don't know. You may need to delete your Snap folder or your Steam folder right here that Snap and Steam make, just to make sure that nothing it will fuck up your new distribution, the new next distribution. If you're reinstalling, you probably don't have to worry about that as much. And this .mozilla, that's your browser. You might be able to get away with something like that, because it's a browser, whatever. But if you are having trouble, just delete it, and use Firefox Sync or whatever the Google Chrome does a similar thing where they put a hidden dot file in your home folder, and same thing with that. Yeah. Now, one last thing. I wanted to address Bryan Lunduke's Linux Thursday paywall shenanigans. Okay, now, I was initially a little upset at the announcement. And to be clear, right from the get-go, I do not support his decision. And full disclosure, I have unsubscribed from his channel, because I just don't want to. Like, he just puts up a couple clips, and it's like, that makes me sad that I'm not getting the whole Linux Thursday. But, see, here's where Bryan Lunduke made his biggest mistake. See, you took away something that was free, and you put it behind a paywall. You took something that we were already getting for free, and you put it behind a paywall. And that's bound to piss people off. Okay, that's probably where a lot of the anger is coming from. And I'm okay, so here's and I think this is a really bad move, and other people have said other things that I definitely agree with, like, he's hurting the community by doing this, because this was a big community news show, and by locking it behind a paywall, there's this YouTuber named DistroTube who has a Patreon and does all his content, releases most of his content for free. I don't know how his I'm not even subscribed to this guy. I may subscribe to him because I'm watching his content and I kind of like it, but I may subscribe to him in the future. But he said that, this really does hurt or maybe one of the people in the comments said it. But no, this was something that was a shared community thing, and this is something that people could point to, be like, hey, this is a nice little newsy type show that you can watch and get Linuxy. It was a great Linux resource. for things like current events, and somewhere where you could ask somebody questions, and if you had a good one, they'd read it on air. So yeah, it was a great thing, and then he put it behind a paywall. Now, other people have said this in the short term. You may have had great gains. I saw the numbers. He has increased by about $1,000 on his Patreon. Yeah, that's a really great increase in the short term. But you're essentially putting that behind a paywall, and putting little clips out, and that's going to stunt your growth. Other people have said this before. I'm repeating it here. That's going to stunt your growth. Now, something I did want to mention, that I did want to say, that other people do it better. They do handle this a lot better. Linus Tech Tips. I'm not sure how they... I'm not sure how their internal business works. Okay, I'm probably going to just cut this out. Yes, I'm just going to cut this out. Forget Linus Tech Tips. Okay, so LGR, he is the epitome of professional YouTubers, like independent YouTubers. Linus Tech Tips is sort of a company, but they make a lot of money on sponsorships. Yeah, okay, now I'm finding the words. They make a lot of money on sponsorships. They make a lot of money reviewing tech, and they are very honest. They are, to me, are trustworthy. Okay, so LGR, he does a variety of shows. He, as you can see, new videos every Monday and Friday. He keeps a constant stream of content. I don't know how well he's doing. I haven't seen his books. He may be struggling for all I know. But my point is, he doesn't lock like, most of his content is free. I think he does a couple extra things for his patrons, but that's the point. They're extras. They're extra stuff. And most of his content is released complete and free. And Joe Collins. Joe Collins recently did an announcement on Facebook, and I'm not going to open up my Facebook page because that would reveal a little too much information about me, I think. But, yeah, he released an announcement saying, on his Facebook page, saying all of his content would always be available in full and for free. He said that, if he were doing this for money, he wouldn't be doing it at all. And that's the truth. If you are doing this for money, if you're doing this YouTube thing for money, and you expect to live on it, you're kidding yourself, okay? You are kidding yourself. I hate to say that. Everyone wants to be, the person who makes this content and supports themselves with it completely, but no, you can't. It's almost impossible. You can't do it. Right? And Joe Collins has 50,000 subscribers. I looked, last I checked, Bryan Lunduke has 48,000. So, I mean, oh my god. I forget what point I was trying to make there, but okay, so and this is just an off-the-cuff video. I'll probably do a write-up on my experiences, but yeah, like, you just can't do it. It's very rare that somebody is able to do that, and so, I mean, if this isn't your passion, if YouTube and journalism isn't your passion, you're going to have a hard time waking up in the morning. Because, I mean, you were making $3,000 on your Patreon, and I don't know how much your sponsors give. And I realize you have 2 kids, and I realize you live in Washington State, which it probably costs way more to live there than it does where I live. But come on, dude, you're really shooting yourself in the foot here. I really think you are. And honestly, there's another facet to this. I don't, and I know this is selfish, but I don't want him to succeed, because if he succeeds, other YouTubers may follow, and then every single goddamn YouTuber who was once putting out content for free will now charge $2 a month, and I can't afford $2 a month for every YouTuber I watch. Hell, I can't afford $2 a month for one YouTuber I watch. And he says, "Oh, you pay for Netflix and cable and stuff." No, I don't pay for cable anymore. We had to drop that. We had to drop cable. We did get Netflix. We do have Netflix, but Netflix for $11 a month, you can. And you don't even need to pay $11 a month. You can pay like $7 or $8 and get everything in standard definition, and you can only use one screen at a time. But for $11 a month, you get all this content. You get almost a lifetime's worth of content. And yeah, compare that to what was it, 16? Oh God, you compare that to your offering. So I mean, even if we pared it down to from $11 a month to $2 a month, and cut the amount of content on Netflix down to by like the same percentage, it would still be more content than what you're putting out, Bryan Lunduke. And I'm sorry, I don't think Bryan Lunduke is evil. I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's a bad person. I just think he's made a very poor decision. And another thing. There was this podcast way back when, a couple of years ago, called the biggest problem in the universe. There we go. And and I'm not going to name one of the hosts, because he actually is a terrible person, and I don't want anybody to look him up. But don't watch his stuff. Don't give him any traffic. The other guy is Dick Masterson. If you see Dick Masterson, check out his content if you want. I don't watch it, but whatever. Point is, the biggest problem in the universe, they had their main show for free. Then they sold bonus episodes, and they also made money by sponsorships. And apparently, they actually made a lot of money that way. So it's something to consider. Maybe instead of taking away Linux Thursdays and putting that behind a paywall, maybe you could just release bonus episodes that people pay for. And I'll be honest, I was disappointed when Linux Sucks this year wasn't free. I'll be honest, I was disappointed, but that's one piece of content, and I understand why he did it. That's a lot more tolerable to me than what he's doing with Linux Thursday. So that's my 2 bits, and I probably didn't speak my mind very well, but that's okay. Bye.